Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to rock and roll? Well, I'm not, people, but unfortunately we have to. Welcome to Boulder-dash, welcome back to Crash Bandicoot on the Sony PlayStation 1. I am one wild sheep, and of course, just like in the previous Boulder level, we are going to run a lot. Woo! And this is the Boulder level where you're probably going to have the most issue. This is the last Boulder level that we're going to tackle in the game. But this is also the Boulder level where you're going to have issues. This is where the D-pad only controls started to mess me up. And you'll see me not be able to like there, I stopped because I couldn't hit the diagonals. And there's one thing I have to say about the PlayStation controller that I never understood. Everyone always talks about how good the D-pad is on a PlayStation controller. I've always seen people say the PlayStation controller has one of the best D-pads around. No, it doesn't. I've never... There's a reason why I don't like the PlayStation D-pad apart from the PS4s and the PS Vitas, and that's because you can't do diagonals properly. I have always struggled to do diagonals on a PlayStation controller. I've never been able to do it. Nintendo controller, no problem. Sega, no problem. Microsoft's, sometimes it'll work. Microsoft's controller is a bit of a different special case though, because the D-pad itself isn't bad. It's the fact that the plastic on the casing is too small for the D-pad, so sometimes it just doesn't work. But I digress. I just don't understand the love for the PlayStation D-pad. It just doesn't do diagonals very well, and it really spins me out. But you do need to make use of diagonal movement in this special, in this Boulder level, because otherwise you're gonna get crushed. And you do need to be pixel perfect. If you slow down too much because you're doing corners, you're going to get crushed even though the boulder you're still moving forward, because the boulder is especially difficult to get away from. It moves extremely fast. So basically just try and run, just hold down whenever possible and only move left and right whenever it is absolutely necessary. Otherwise, you're going to get crushed. There's no two ways about it. So the main thing I can tell you to do is actually just stay in the center of the entire boulder sequence, though, because a lot of the objects that are going to try and stop you, and this is me pausing to read just my fingers because I couldn't control it anymore. Basically, a lot of the objects that are going to try and stop you are going to be to the left and right of the boulder stage. So just stay in the middle and you should be fine throughout the most of it. And there's that. Short stage, very short stage actually, but especially difficult. Anyway, we're going to go into the sunset vista. Magical place where you can let your dreams fly by. If only. This is actually an extremely difficult stage. Obviously it's the second temple type level that we've seen in the game, you know, Lost City stage type. And it has pretty much all the similar mechanics as the first one did, you know, all these bats, lots of lizard enemies and lots of fire. And of course logs in the water. And one thing about these lizard guys that jump, of course, that was weird, it looked like I edited 3 parts out in one go then. That's weird. But basically, the jumping lizard enemies, what you want to do with them is actually, you can either boop them on the head and get a massive bounce off them, which is what you're meant to do to kill them, or you can jump and spin. If they're jumping, your spin attack will be able to kill them. If they're on the floor, however, and you try and do a spin attack, you're just going to bounce off them and you're going to die. So, if possible, try and boop their head, because I can't see a normal way to take them out otherwise. Of course, you have the standard lizard enemies move left and right, so they're basically like Goombas, just jump on them. Of course, they're slightly more deadly in Goombas because of their placement, and they don't kill themselves, so there's that. But of course, extra lives is always more willing, and of course, you're going to see the game is from this point onwards going to throw a lot more extra lives our way to compensate for the increased difficulty. The difficulty really shoots up from this point onwards, folks. And say what you want about early PlayStation 1 titles and how they haven't aged all that well. Apart from graphics. The graphics in this game have aged quite well, but say what you will, the challenge is still very fair, even though it's extremely challenging. So, because they do give you a lot of chances. I don't think Unless you're doing exceptionally bad, like me in my last attempted LP, you're not gonna get a game over. So I guess that's something. But of course you do need to time your jumps and stuff because the bats are gonna fly into you otherwise. And be careful because if you touch a bat by 1 pixel, you're gonna get killed. They have quite a big hitbox, so it's very easy to get killed by them. So just throwing caution to the wind out there. But of course, as with last time, there's lots of timing puzzles, and this is probably around the point in the game where I can see a lot of people really starting to struggle with. I mean, at this point in the LP, I was getting fatigued. I couldn't play much longer. I really couldn't. But basically, it's a couple of platform types by here. First, there's this one platform I'm struggling to stay on, and whenever you touch that platform, it'll go in after a second. And now you have these platforms move in and out. We've seen these types before. I mean, just jump on them, time your jumps right, and you should be able to get by really really slowly. But yeah, like I said, earlier on in the part as well, don't worry too much about getting the gems because your reward is not special. I'm debating showing off the secret ending because it's pretty much exactly the same as the normal ending, but the color scheme is slightly different. That's the only difference I could see. So I don't think it's worth it. If you guys want it enough, just comment. Then I'll probably look towards recording it for you guys. Not like I'm gonna get 100% legitimately. I'll just lob in a password because once you've done 100% once, you're never gonna want to do it again. I've decided that I'm never doing it again. It's like Sonic Adventure 2. Once you get all the emblems and collectibles in Sonic Adventure 2 once, you're never gonna do that again. I had to do it twice because I lost my save file once. I'm not doing it again. I swear to God. If I lose my save file this time, screw it, I'm not showing off the things when I get to that LP, which will be a long time in the future anyway, so why am I even talking about it here? But anyway, just continue moving onwards, and we find again BaaaaAAAHHhh mask again. We haven't had one of these for quite a while now that I think about it. So it's very welcome to have a little bit of extra hit point damage. Although, one thing that a lot of people who started off with the later Crash games will be disappointed by is the fact that BaaaaAAAHHhh doesn't have any personality whatsoever. He doesn't talk. The only voice clip of him in this game is the I don't even know what that was meant to be. That was trying... Basically, the sound effect when you collect him is the only noise he makes in this game. That's it. So, yeah, as you can tell, the sequels, they actually give him a personality, and I like that because I like his personality. I also like him in the newer Crash games as well, where I just can't get Grim from Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy out of my head. Because basically in the later, say what you will about the later games in the series, like the newest ones, they're humorous. I like the cutscenes in them. The gameplay I don't like, but I love the cutscenes of the new games. But I digress. Let's just continue onwards and just make our way. Now be careful as well, because this is probably where the game's really going to get a bit evil, shall we say, with their timing mechanics, like there. You do need to be pixel perfect. If you're wrong by half a second, you're gonna die. Like, I almost died right there. So, all you want to do is basically wait for these to line up, and once they all go in at the same time, make your way forward. It's the only way I can think about getting past that anyway. But of course, more foreboding third island in the background, and it actually looks... I think the image of the island in the background is actually bigger than it was in the previous parts, so... There we go, like I said. More, it's progression. I like the feeling of progression in games. But anyway, like I said, be very careful. Timing when to go in this particular section is very, very annoying. Basically, you need to just wait, learn how these things go, and you'll be fine. Very awkward. I don't like it. So just boop, boop. Yeah, extra life. I wonder how many of these I've lost. I wish I could count. Some crazy person on YouTube's gonna count through the editing and be like, oh yeah, you've got it. You've lost 200 lives in this LP. There's not really much more to say though. The stage is pretty much exactly as the previous one was. just a lot more complex, because obviously now we got blocks pushing above, moving in and out platforms. So basically all they did from different from the previous one of these levels to this one is make the timing a lot harder to do. And screw that extra life, it can die in the fire. I'm not touching the extra life. It's too far in the background, and chances are I'm going to go and get it and die. And will be a point of getting an extra life and then dying? There would be no point, so I like to keep my current lives, and that's it. But anyway, this is probably the last easy-ish bonus stage of the game. It's the last one I think I really get through properly. So what you want to do is just boop them, boop the TNT crates, and then move onwards. And there's 2 extra lives as well. And also after a while you see that the bonus stages will stop giving you extra lives. So don't rely on these things for lives. You really don't. Of course, I still need to look up what those keys are. I'm going to look them up in a bit. Then we're returning to Sunset Vista. I just get flashbacks to Windows Vista. I never had as big an issue with Windows Vista as most other people, being the operating system now, but I never really used it for gaming. It wasn't until a lot later that I used Windows for gaming. But anyway, it's just continue through. Rotating platforms, delish. I have to say though, I like the music of the game as well. It's something I haven't touched on yet. The music isn't memorable. I can't remember a single track from this game. But it's there and it's good. It's kind of like the soundtrack of Spyro. Very nice to listen to. It's very well done for what it is, but you just can't remember it. It's just something you have in the background, you know, to calm you. And you see that blimp up on top of the fortress back there? Well, that blimp is actually, it's spoilers, but we're going to see that blimp way at the end. That's basically the final stage, folks. Anyway, back to the map. Now what's next on the agenda, folks? Well, the next boss fight, of course. Koala Kong. And he's not related to Donkey Kong. Koala Kong. He's the leader of the bunch. You know him well. If he throws rocks at ya, it's gonna hurt. But basically what he's gonna do is he's basically gonna throw rocks at you. That's all there is to it. And occasionally TNT boxes will fall from the ceiling. And the best way to deal with this boss fight is basically whenever he throws a rock at you, jump and move to the left or right, and spin the rock, the final rock he throws back at him. You'll know the rock will be spinnable because he's going to take a longer time to actually throw it at you. So the best thing to really deal with this is jump away from the TNT crates. What you want to do is wait for him to throw a rock and jump over it. When the TNT crate lands, go to the TNT crate first, and then dodge his rocks and go to the opposite side of the room. Which, this boss fight overall is actually quite easy, but it's very easy to make mistakes and die on. And especially but there, you will see from this point on in the boss, you'll see more than one TNT crate drop down. And it's basically a nightmare for anyone who doesn't know how to dodge. So just keep dodging, as a certain green Piccolo would say. And just try and just time your jumps very well. So yeah, basically the best way to deal with this is move to the left if there's a TNT crate to the left, and then move right, and vice versa, so. There we go, he's going to throw the last boulder, and now it's time to get a final hit. Obviously hit him when the minecarts aren't in the way, because obviously you'll hit the minecart instead of him, and nothing will happen. But there's that for this part, folks, so thank you guys for watching. I hope you've all enjoyed. Don't be sheepish, people, and when we return next time, we'll take on Cortex's island itself and tackle the heavy machinery. Metal! Thanks for watching, people. Hope you enjoyed. See you after. Bye!